create an adventure with your help and a little bit of assistance on my part. We're going to build out an adventure, and I'm all ready to get today. I think we're dealing with crabs and underwater. We really haven't done underwater before, but today is the day that we will, and I'm hoping that you'll be interested in what we have to offer. So we'll put up a poll, but I would like you to grab some food, some drink, turn on your thinking cap, and we'll get started fairly quickly. I don't want to muck around with this. We have about 2 hours to do this, although we could go a bit longer if we need to. I don't feel like that we will have a problem. I have a pre-made map for those of you who are wondering, so that we've got something to work to. Anyway, let's get started, shall we? Hi, welcome to How to RPG. My name is Fred Wheeler, and today I want to talk about tabletop role-playing games, how to create, write, make your own adventure rather than go and buy it from somebody else. And I thought it would be fun to do an underwater cavern, something completely submerged. Yes, something where the adventurers might actually have to breathe underwater. Now, whether they're using a spell or whether they are merfolk or some other water-breathing creature, I don't mind. It's up to you. You decide. But there's lots of different ways of doing it, and I thought it would be fun to sort of go over that topic today. Now, I've created a pre-made map. For those of you who are aware, I normally have a map generated so that you can just work to that map. It's numbered so that we can work with that. And I think the theme is, I think we get the idea that the theme of this might be a Crabzilla. I think Fred Huber in chat has mentioned Crabzilla. And I had a discussion with some of my patrons, subscribers, about what would be an interesting way to sort of develop a cave adventure. So we're dealing with a very specific sort of thing, but it might not be the only thing in this cave. A big, huge crab might be just the beginning. Maybe it's just part of it. Maybe there's more than one thing living in here that's not going to be very nice for anybody to deal with. So I have created a map for you. This is the map right here. You can see the different locations. For those of you who are wondering, heck, Fred, where did you get that map from? Well, I created it with a program. I did not draw it myself. It is just a very rough map. It is essentially intended for you to put together your own maps for your adventures very fast so you can write your own adventure. And all I've done is taken that map making program, which is just tiles that you move around, and then I've labeled it with paint. You just go in there and you just add in the number that you need. And then, of course, the numbers then give you a reference as to what you draw up. So let me share you the program first that I'm using. It's called Dave's Mapper. Dave's Mapper. There we go. And very simple to use. It's free. You do not have to pay for it. I would not point you in the direction of something you have to pay for and then try to sell the idea to you, okay? I'm selling you a free idea, okay? It's a free tool, so go check that out. Now, if you're on Patreon and you want a sort of a closer look to, not Patreon, if you're on Discord, you might want to have a closer look at the map, get better access to it rather than on YouTube, and you can do that. Like I put the maps up over on my Discord, and my Discord is not dependent on being a patron. You can join it for free and engage in that community if you want, and I'll put up the Discord as well, okay? And a lot of these adventures wind up going up onto Patreon at some point, of course, but that's not what we're here for. Now, I have created not just the map, but also a document, a Google document that I will fill in. So we have to answer a question. Whose cave is this? Crabzilla might be the answer. We've covered that. But why are the players coming here? Might be a question to answer. So let's go with that question. Why are the characters coming here? Now, I thought it would be interesting if imagine having an underground or a submerged cave that is simply a big, huge mound of coral that it has tunnels and passageways that have been formed by creatures breaking it apart and messing with it, or by just the currents moving through the coral and creating those cavities within inside. So this is our question. You want 10 to be an air bubble, a chamber with treasure on the beach to the east edge, undead guards. All right, okay. So, well, we could do something like that. I do actually have an air pocket grotto. So I've put together some descriptions, but I want you to work as much as you can in the chat, coming up with ideas. We're going to take the Crabzilla idea, and I'm going to actually highlight this as probably going to be, I would imagine, let's put it in the central. I think a deep cavity is probably the best place to position a crab. And so Crabzilla might be living there, okay? But there's all sorts of other things that need to be dealt with as well. So we're not finished, not by a long shot. Okay, so let me see if I can just track you over to my document so you can see what I'm working with. And where are we? This. Oh, and I probably should put up a poll, because I haven't put up a poll. So before I show you the Google document that I've started, because I usually have a Google document of all of these. Yes, it's very much, yeah, the Crabzilla was a comment from you, but I actually had a talk to one of the subscribers and patrons about this, and they presented a couple of different ideas, a couple of different people. So I put that forward in the image for the thumbnail. But Crabzilla, I'm all right with that. We could have a crab that is covered in coral and is a giant size and lives in this sort of pit, in or depression within the coral reef of some kind. Anyway, first off, let's deal with the question that I normally ask, and that is, whoopsie daisies. Okay, so when we're dealing with our map, give me the number of the area so that we know what we're putting there. And then what is there? What is there? So I'm just typing this in. What is there? And then that would be like your description. Keep it short. Short and sweet is always good. And then from there we're going to go into, now we won't be having furniture, I imagine, but we might have monsters or creatures. We might have hazards. We might have traps, maybe. Maybe there's traps in here. Maybe there's not. Maybe there's an NPC. NPCs we can talk to underwater. We might have a puzzle of some kind. It might be stuff that we can find, so like treasure. So it can be a range of different things. Things that would fill it up and make it interesting. Things that our players can do. So those are the things that I'm aiming for. Okay, now the poll here. I'm going to put in this. I was trying to think if I have ever made an underwater cave adventure before, and I think I might have made a underwater shell as an adventure, but not a cave as such. So have you created a underwater cave adventure? That'll be my question to you. We'll of course go with yes, no, for those of you who have started but not complete, incomplete, and then of course those of you who are just watching. Okay. Alright, so I'll put that poll up. Feel free to take part in that poll. And let's get over to where we need to be, which is my Google document, so that you can actually see what's going on. Okay, all right, here we go. Google document, here I've started. You'll see there's very, very little here. It's just underwater cave. And adventure hooks we haven't done. Wandering monsters, haven't dealt with it yet. That's why it's in yellow. Main features, I've simply written down, a large mound of coral has been naturally hollowed out by animals and currents into a cave complex. That's sort of our basic gist. It's a mound of coral. So if you have a better idea, by all means put it forward, and maybe I'll just flip this out and put your idea in. There are only 10 locations. One of the things you'll have noticed on my channel is some of the locations could have 15 locations, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. We've had some really big ones. Today I thought we would go really small that we would actually trim it right down so there's not that much to deal with. The reason being that I think the sweet spot for writing an adventure quite often is probably 5 to 6, as high as 10. And then really going bigger than that is you're looking at like a mega dungeon. I know that different people have different versions of what a mega dungeon is. That's cool. So this is what we have. So I have also prepared a few notes from the subscribers and patrons. They said giant coral crab, and that'll probably be Crabzilla. Giant octopus, and so where do we put a giant octopus? We've kind of had krakens before. They've done the aboleth. We've had plenty of giant crabs as well, actually. We have never dealt with the chull. The chull are really nasty. They paralyze you. They're actually pretty vicious little sods. So we could put chull in here as well. That would kind of fit with having a giant coral crab, Crabzilla. And then I've got a whole lot of different descriptions that I have put together to sort of fill in the spaces if you guys get stuck. So while you're deciding what to do with everything, I'm going to just do entry 1. Because usually nobody is interested in covering the entry points, and area 1 is an entrance. So I'm going to plug this one in, and that will just give us sort of a head start on everything, which is always nice. So there we go. And I will also put in treasure. I don't know if there's going to be anything else here. GM notes. Actually, maybe we should make it a little bit dangerous. Like if we put in a hazard. Let's put a hazard in. Because the cave's opening is framed by a massive coral reef with jagged coral formations. Schools of bright coloured fish dart in and out of the entrance. Yes, cool. We've got a basic idea of what our entrance is like. But it's also, we haven't said as such, which we shouldn't say, because it'll give it away. We should probably put a hazard in. And that hazard being that sharp coral. Let's actually make that a problem for the players. So, if a character brushes against the coral, they suffer, let's say just 1d6 slashing damage. Something like that. So they're going to get hurt. Now, the problem with a statement like that is we have not actually stated to the game master how to determine when they brush against the coral. So maybe what we need to do is build in a current so that they're going to be forced to fight the current in some way. Okay, if a current tries going into the cave opening, a strong current threatens to push them against the coral. Against the coral. Threatens to push them against the coral. Coral and causing them to suffer d6 slashing damage. So now we've kind of got a little bit of a mechanic there. I haven't written in make a dexterity saving throw or dex check or a dex or a stat check of some kind. But as a game master, you've got now something to work with. We know we now have to sort of fight the currents. So that sort of help as a narrative. Cool. We'll leave that there. You'll notice when I write these, I tend to largely make these sort of system agnostic. I would say they're D&D agnostic. You could probably port them into any D&D adventure. Pathfinder, Shadow Dark, any old school essentials. I mean, look, you could pretty much put them anywhere. So there's my first contribution. Let's have a look and see how chat is doing. See if they come up with some ideas, and I'll go back and do another one if anybody has got stuck. So here we go. Now I don't want Fred Huber to do all the work today, but I really do hope that people feel free to share your ideas. You'd be surprised how many times things can result in really clever ideas, because I often combined your ideas or one other person's idea with another idea. The hat is off because I'm a little bit, yeah. Giant barracuda swim near the entrance to 1. Okay, so really, okay, so we could make getting into the entrance a little bit more difficult. So we've still got this current, but we could include a monster. So let's go monster. And our monster is paste. A giant barracuda. Barracuda swims near the cave opening and attacks, because they're not very and attacks anyone trying to go inside, possibly because they live inside the cave. So we've now got a monster for our location 1. Sweet. I've written that in. Hello Matthew, how are you? I kind of tend to be an air bubble chamber. So I'm going to take your idea, your air bubble chamber, and you've got here a few notes on how that would work. So I'm going to just cut this, drop this into 10. I have no problems with that. We can make that something like that. That's cool. And we're going to go back to the Google Doc in a sec. I just want to make sure I grab everybody's ideas. Hello, dearie. It's been a while. How are you doing? Hopefully life is treating you well. You think there should be a Storm Giant Princess as a mission objective NPC. A Storm Giant objective. So a Storm Giant in a... Would Storm Giants hang out inside a coral? Like, you're going to have to give me a little bit more. You have to build a little bit more on that idea. If there's going to be a Storm Giant NPC. So is the Storm Giant trapped in this cave or lost in this cave? Like, yeah. That could well be a good way of including an NPC they can talk to into the adventure. We just need a little bit more. And maybe another area where there is a friendly mermaid guarded by a herd of octopi. A friendly mermaid, octopi. Okay, let's just make a note of these ideas. Maybe an injured mermaid who couldn't get out. I don't know. And what else do we have here? I had an underwater entrance that was guarded by undead sailors, keeping the inside monsters from the open ocean monsters. The inside was heavily aquatic cavern system. This is completely submerged, like it's completely underwater. Storm giants are natively amphibious. Okay, Matthew. So now we need to just know why you come up with an idea. Why is that Storm Giant Princess or the Storm Giant in the cave complex in the first place? Did she go in there and get stuck? Did she get injured? How did anybody, did she have like a friendly octopi or sea creature that swam out and was seeking somebody to assist her? Like a pet dog, but like maybe it's a pet seahorse. I mean, I don't know. You come up with an idea with that, and I'll try to build it in. Okay, so now let's go back to the document, because 10 looks like 10 is already sort of on the cards for developing, and so I want to build into that as much as I can. I will send out another prompt so I know where I'm up to with you guys' ideas. So yeah, and yep, let's go back to this one. Okay, so 10. Fred Huber had said something about an air chamber. So let us take, I believe I have something like that I've already started to write up. So I will do that. The air pocket grotto. And that's what we'll do. We'll go here, cut, cut, and we'll go into 10. A small cave. Now, is it really that small though? It's a medium-sized cave, really. If anything, it's a fairly large. I mean, it's not the largest cave in this complex, but it's, I would say, medium-sized. Medium-sized cave with an air pocket at the top. And then we got a white sandy ledge to the east. East. Longo trapped here by denizens of the cave. So let's do this. A medium-sized cavern with an air pocket at the top. Now I just need to, I suppose I need to also make sure that I include the main features of this cave location. So it's really like a passageway leading past 10, and there's a drop-off pit, and then there's a beach section. So okay, so let's do that. Let's make sure I include that information. Okay, a medium-sized cave with a let's say 50-foot pit with a 50-foot pit. With an air pocket at the top. At the top. White beach. Okay, a white beach ledge, white sandy ledge, white beach sandy ledge, covered in seashells, shells to the east. Okay, we've got some undead pirates. Got it. So let's go here, monster. Undead humanoid pirates. Guard. What is left of a rusting old chest? So pirates here we're trapped here by the denizens of the caves long ago. There we go. And that is, now we have treasure. We know it's a chest. a chest full of valuable coins and gems. That'll do. Coins and gems. Coins and gems. So let's do that. Go bold. You've got your monster. You've got your location description. And we just need to bold and underline that. And that's most of that section sort of done, which is nice. Okay, we're doing well. So going back to the, since I've done your bit, I will do area 2. How's that sound? Well, actually, I'll do area 5. I'll do area 5 now. So nobody's picked area 5. I'll do area 5, and I can probably do area 6 description as well at the same time, and then we'll come back and see what you guys have come up with. So area 5, let's make this a kelp forest, essentially. And I'll go here, copy, cut, yep, something like that. 5, let's just put this in here. It's a nice big area, so you could have a nice large kelp forest in this area. Dense towering strands of kelp fill the area, fill the huge cavern, making navigation difficult. The water is dark and cold with no fish swimming about. Okay, and then we're going to hear monster. Let's put a monster here. Or something else. You tell me, people. Giant octopus. Sorry. Octopus. Blah, blah, blah. Question mark. No treasure. What would the treasure be? I don't know. You tell me. So, kelp forest. Done. And I'm going to go back to the chat in a second, but I'm going to get, whoopsies, I'm going to get this done a bit more efficiently. In the past, I've been taking too long. So, okay, so we've got a bit of a pit. So I think I've got something that works around that. We've got a sunken graveyard, crystal cavern, whirling chamber, temple ruins, jellyfish cavern. That sounds bad. Abyssal trench. We've got a trench area. Sea, fossil cave, submerged library, forgotten shrine, Eels Nest. Guys are shipwrecks. So let's put a shipwreck pit in here. I don't know how the shipwrecks got in there, but maybe the giant crab has dragged them through. Let's go here. And go to 6. Paste. Shipwreck pit. Okay, let's do that. And go bold underline. A massive dark cavern filled with the remains of sailing ships. Did I get it right? Sailing ships. And 100. You wouldn't even know. And a deep pit. A massive dark cavern filled with the remains of sailing ships in a deep pit. That's pretty good as a description, which means we now have a monster. Crabzilla is a giant coral-covered crab that has dragged shipwrecks off the bottom of the ocean into its lair to feed off the corpses of sailors. Sailors. There we go. We probably need treasure, and there'll be a lot, I would imagine. What that will be, leave that to you. Whoopsies, that's not the word treasure. And it's there, so Crabzilla. Okay, oops, I put an underline on that. Not supposed to do that. Let's try that again. Underline off, bold here. And let's go back to the chat and see what you guys have come up with, because I've done plenty. So, what other ideas do you have that we can appropriate and put in here? Okay, 10. Okay, 10. One treasure item is magical. No creature can breathe water within 20 feet of the object. Why? Hello, Hypnotic. How are you? Nice to have you here. Why can't they breathe water within 20 feet of the object? Does it nullify magic? I don't understand why it would have that. But one magic item in area 10, I'm fine doing that. But what is it that's this magic item, and what is it trying? What are you trying to do with it? Like I don't understand. So you have to explain a bit more. Otherwise, yeah, it's just one magic item right now. One magic item is in the chest. So I've put the one magical item, but I need a bit more. So perhaps there is a magical mermaid statue with some power that is of aid, like water breathing or lightning resistance. Okay, so where would you like to put that? A magical mermaid statue that grants water breathing or lightning resistance. I don't know why lightning resistance, but water breathing, I can see that. Where would you put that? Would that be in area 3? Would that be in area 7? Would it be in area 4 or 9 or 8 or, like 7? I don't know, you tell me. This is why it's really helpful to designate an area where you would like something to be, and then I will just stick it there. Okay, paste. All right, so I've got that information down. We'll see what we do with it later. 6 could be an open above to a pull, opening above to a pull. It could, but I don't want to have. I don't really. What I'm trying to do is force this cave to be completely submerged. So what I'll do is I'll just run right into the general information on the cave. It is primarily underwater. Okay. The coral cave complex is primarily underwater. So when I think about this adventure, I think what you're dealing with is either people who are playing at a reasonably high level and have access to water breathing, or you're dealing with a group that are playing a campaign where you've made sure that water breathing is going to be available to them for whatever reason. Give them a potion of water breathing or a scroll of water breathing so they can cast it on multiple individuals, or your campaign is completely underwater and all of the creatures that you're dealing with, all of the characters are playing a species or a race that breathes water. So that's a very different, it's not really thinking in terms of we would plug this adventure in for anybody who is just land-based species and can't breathe underwater. So it's got a very specific purpose in an adventure like this. The anti-water breathing would explain trapped pirates that later became undead. Oh, I see. No creature can breathe water within 20 feet of the object. Does it need to be just breathe water, or does it need to is it an anti-magic item? Is it a magic item that turns off magic and produces an aura? We can create that kind of item if that's what you're after. I kind of like that idea. That means that if you were trying to use spells, that probably would not help you. But there's also, remember, there's an air pocket above it, so there is a bit of air in there. And that air pocket means they would still be able to breathe air, even though they can't breathe water. So I don't know that that really follows that much. Well, I mean, I suppose they're going to die of starvation, right? Anti-magic is okay too. All right, let's do anti-magic. Okay, so there's a little bit of a anti-magic thing going on here. So that will create a bit of a time pressure. So let's go down and deal with a time pressure for that. And I will plug in this. Keep picking a location and then chucking in what you want to be there, and I'll put it in. Okay. All right. Next, I need to make sure I get this right. We go to underwater, over here, anti-magic. So one magic item is in the chests. A magical. Now, what should it be? Is it an orb? A magical. Do we make it harder to find? A magical orb? I don't know. A crystal? A gem? A magical orb of anti-magic produces a. So how big an aura do we want? Some sort of aura. An aura that's big enough to cause problems. And if it's on the sandy beach at the far to the east, then that's 20, that's 10 feet, 5, 10, 20 feet radius would start to cause problems for people. Okay, let's go a magical orb of anti-magic. So, well, here's the problem is if they start to decide, okay, I'm going to use Mage Hand. If you're dealing with 5e, you have things like Mage Hand, right? So that might cause a little bit of a hassle because whatever you're trying to achieve is probably over. Unless, of course, they have that. 10, 20, 30, 40 feet would probably start to encroach on the passageway. So they could not move through there without suddenly losing their water breathing. I mean, it's only going to be for a small period of time. But, okay. A magical orb of anti-magic produces a 40-foot radius aura. Aura from the chest. Then how do you have undead humanoid pirates here? If you're producing an aura of anti-magic, then anti-magic would shut down whatever necromantic magic is keeping the undead pirates alive. There's a problem here. You can't include a monster when you have an anti-magic thingy shutting down the aura of undead. This is one of those things, right? When you're designing adventures, like, does that make sense? No, this does not make sense, which means they may simply just be skeletons and not undead that are actually going to attack anybody. So we may have to remove the idea of a monster here, unless, of course, it's going to be something else. Anti-magic, yeah. So there's a little problem here. We might have to just think a bit more about whether that's actually going to be there. The anti-magic could stay, but then the undead is gone, right? Okay, so now that we're dealing with that, let's have another look at a location. I think I said I was going to do location 2 because it's an entrance. We could do area 3 as well. Area 3 could be a location, because that's an entry point as well. There's a bit of a cliff face, but it's not an issue. And most of the time, people are not very interested in filling in the entrances, so I'll do that. So let's see if we can come up with an idea for area 3 or 2. Something from our notes here. Any ideas here that might work? I don't know. Bioluminescent cave, octopus eye, sunken grave, barnacles, skeletons. Could all be fine. Crystal cavern, we have so many crystal caverns, I don't really want to do another one. A jellyfish cavern, the abyssal trench. I feel like the abyssal trench is probably, because we've got a trench in here already. Let's do this. Let's go cut, and because there is a trench in 9, so we could put that in there. There's a trench. What you populate it with is completely up to you guys. Because, oops, not a suggestion. Stop that. So we go here, paste abyssal trench, which is 9. I go bold underline, a deep black trench that descends into the unknown. A deep black trench that descends into darkness. Let's just do that. Strange lights flash occasionally from the depths, and eerie sounds emit from the abyss. Well, you're going to hear shite all underwater. But strange light flashes may be a thing. I think we get rid of this bit here, though. We don't need that. I'm even wondering if we need to keep that. Like, what are you going to put in there that's going to do that? And then what you want to populate it with. I don't know, fill it with giant sea serpents. Stick a trapped giantess in there. Storm giantess could probably be in there. That maybe she fell down into the crevice and you've got to try and rescue her from there. I don't know. There's your NPC. You tell me. So I was doing that bit, and then working our way, we're doing entrance ways. Jelly. Fossil cave, submerged library, forgotten shrine, Eels Nest, geyser cave, treasure cave. Well, I think we're going to have plenty of treasure filled. I think we'll just get rid of this. We don't need that. We got so much treasure in this, that can go. An Eels Nest. Twisting. It's not really a thing. Let's put an Eels Nest in somewhere. Let's do this. Let's go cut, and we'll go to 2. I'll put it into 2. There's my contribution. Paste. Eels Nest. And we'll go bold underline. Bold underline. Now, it's not really that twisted. What we will do is a coral filled tunnel filled with shark rocks and bones. The occasional flash of light from an eel can be seen in the dark. This sort of suggests that we've got electric eels. It does. It's a monster. Electric eels. Eels live in the tunnel or cavities. Cavities. And attack intruders. Okay, something like that. I don't know. You tell me. I'm just putting stuff down. The idea being, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. It will happen. Okay, so I put a nest there. I think we can do a bit better with our description. A coral-filled tunnel filled with sharp rocks, holes, and bones. So that way we have our eels living in the holes. Occasional flash of light from an eel can be seen in the dark. So we are at least forecasting it, foreshadowing, should I say, for forecasting, not telling the weather. So there we go. That's that one. And I probably should do 3 as well, but I'll come back to that because we're going to go back to chat and see what you guys have come up with. Because I'm sure there'll be something, right? Let's do it. Okay, we're doing well. Progress is pretty good. Nacho, how are you? Yes, hello. How's your afternoon going, mate? How's work? We're not singing Under the Sea, but we are definitely under the sea today. A ring or amulet. Okay, so you want to make that anti-magic, so make it back to anti-water breathing. Or anti-transmutation. Anti-transmutation. So in other words, because what we want to do is shut off all magic that is transmutation of any kind. And a ring of anti-transmutation is a weird thing to have, but that might solve a lot of our problems, Fred. Sound carries well in water, whale songs heard for miles. Well, I mean, I eliminated the sound thing because what lives down there that's making that noise? Unless you guys throw me a bone, I just like, okay, fine, it goes. It's gone. Do you know what I mean? Transmutation. So, okay, so that means if you can naturally breathe underwater as a species, you'll be fine. But if you're using magic, which is probably quite likely in some cases, you're going to have some problems. So there's something to be said for that. I think that's going to work nicely. Yes, let's do this. That's a good solution because transmutation is not necromancy. And necromancy is the undead. So that solves a lot of problems. Well done. I'm impressed. Let's go back to here, and now we can uncheck these undead, and we can keep our undead, and it is a ring. Let's make it a ring of anti-transmutation. Produces a 40-foot radius aura from the chest. So it will fall over the passageway as they are going through the passageway, resulting in a brief moment, probably 10, 20, 30, 40, or maybe they might be just out of reach, but if they go into 10, it probably won't reach them. Okay, so if they go, 10, 20, no, it will go over the passageway. Okay, good to know, good to know. So we've got that established. Back to, I think Derry had some ideas. A siren with eels for here, like a Medusa, or her song will hold person, and the eels are electric, and her gaze does transform into stone, but does something different, like cause one to become a underwater creature that can't survive on land anymore permanently. Shark's teeth rocks sound. A shark's teeth rocks. I don't know quite what that means, but I see what you're going here. So you're wanting to include a mermaid, and are you trying to put the mermaid in the entrance? I don't want to create too many barriers to entry. Like, we want to get them in. One of the biggest problems, and I was laughing as we were talking with Nacho yesterday about his Tome of Horrors adventure with the level 20 characters, and also talking with Wally DM and AJ, and but more Wally and Nacho, is quite often when you create and design an adventure and you cannot get into the adventure and get started because you've set up such a huge barrier to entry, it eliminates the ability to actually have the adventure. And that's not what we want to do. So if we're going to include a mermaid Medusa, which I think is fine, let's do a mermaid Medusa. It's about where do we put the mermaid Medusa and why is she there? Like, that's what we're going to decide. Is the mermaid Medusa in 9? Is it in 4? Can I request a zombie shark? I suppose you could. You can always request a zombie shark. But all you've said is, can I request a zombie shark? Why is there a zombie shark here? Do you know what I mean? Here's another thing. When you design adventures, it's like does it make a little bit of sense? I know it's fantasy, but there's got to be some sort of rationale as to why are there zombie sharks here. I mean, we also got to ask ourselves, why would there be a Medusa siren? Is the Medusa siren a spellcaster? And how would a Medusa siren deal with living with a giant octopus and a giant crabzilla in this location? So something to consider. Do you know what I mean? Right. So Area 4. I think Area 4 could be, I don't know what Area 4 is going to be as such, but I will write in Medusa mermaid. Do we have a name for her? Sorcerer. Okay. If we're going to get undead, I guess this is how we get a sorcerer. It would have to be a Medusa mermaid sorcerer. Something like that. I don't know that that would necessarily be an NPC. It might be. Maybe you can negotiate with her. That would be nice. Or are we dealing with a monster? Do you know what I mean? So I'll place that there, and you'll tell me the rest. So maybe then we can have wandering monsters as zombie sharks. Weird. It's truly, truly strange, but still doable. Okay, what else we got? Back to the top here. Water creatures that can't survive landing more permanently. All kinds of things can make noises underwater. Rubbing of iron on iron ship debris, crackling of pistol shrimp. Sure. Okay. You want it an 8. You think 8 would be the best place? An 8 with petrified fish. Okay, sweet. We'll just move it over to 8. No problems. With petrified fish. Well, okay, so if I do that, what else can I do with this? I think we could put fossils in here. We can make 8 a fossil cave. We'll put our Medusa with the petrified fish in that location. Sound all right? Sound all right? Okay, all right, cool. I'm not waiting for a response. I'm just doing it. Let's just grab this and go cut. We go to 8. Paste. And then we go here. I just need to find the fossils that I had a description of a fossil cave. I'm sure I did. Jellyfish, fossil chamber, fossil cut. And we'll go to 8. We'll plug that in. And we'll put some petrified fish lying on the sandy floor or on the coral, something like that. Okay. The walls are lined with... Okay, so this... the coral walls are lined with the remains of prehistoric sea creatures. Some have... Forget about that. We're gonna point that out at all. Forget about that. No. We do not want to say that. That's a bad thing to say. Petrified fish. Litter the ground. Litter the ground. Litter the sandy and rock ground. So there is our lead up. I guess we're dealing with a monster here, but we're also dealing with a sorcerer. I don't think you could be able to have a Medusa sorcerer creating a zombie fish. That would be a little bit weird. I mean, unless... Can a Medusa transform a zombie into... Are they immune to being petrified? I don't think zombies are immune to being petrified. Not at least in 5e. Should they be? It's not a living creature, is it? It's an undead creature. That kind of leans into... That might work, actually. Now that I think about it, we might actually be able to get away with that one. Because Medusas tend to transform living creatures, not non-living creatures. So that means, yeah, there is the potential for that. Let's have a look here. I'm pretty sure if we have a look at, just give me a second, people, while I figure this out. This is the problem when you start dealing with stuff and changing things. It's like, okay, does this make sense? And yes, it's fantasy. Magic can solve everything, but there's also always a logic. Players are always looking for, is there a logical sense to what you're trying to do here? Or are you just throwing shite together? You know what I mean? Medusa. Okay, here we go. Petrifying gaze. When a creature that can see the Medusa's eyes starts within 30 feet of the Medusa can force to make a saving throw. The Medusa is incapacitated and can see the creature. If saving throws are done, instantly transformed, blah, 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 blah. Okay, it doesn't really say anything about that. But, so if we go to zombie, I don't think zombies have immunity to being petrified. I think you can petrify a zombie. But it's not really a living creature. It's like an undead living thing. So, okay. So let's do... the question is, why are there undead pirates and why would there be undead? Yeah, okay. All right. Monster. I don't feel like it would be very easy to use a Medusa mermaid sorcerer as an NPC. It's probably not going to work very well. The coral walls aligned with the remains of prehistoric sea creatures, petrified fish litter the sandy and rocky ground. And then we need a bit of information on what's going on with this one, but I think we've at least established something about that area. Sweet. Well done. Bold that. Bold that. We're getting there. Okay, where else do we need to go? Did I deal with Area 3? I did not deal with Area 3, which is yet again another entrance, which usually most people have no desire to do anything with, which is fine. I have no issues with that. So, Area 3 is another entrance. What could we use, since there is a sort of a drop-off here? The sunken graveyard scattered around the floor of this chamber are ancient barnacle-covered skeletons, remains of humans and creatures, rusted weapons. So this sunken graveyard could kind of be... I suppose it could be. We could have a whirlwind entranceway rather than a chamber, temple, a jellyfish cave, sea serpent, submerged library. I don't know about that one. I think the submerged library thing is not going to be a thing. Shrine, a geyser, bubbles, bioluminescent, algae, soft. Maybe we just have an entrance which isn't just covered in friggin' danger. Like that would probably be cave entrance. Bioluminescent. Yeah. We could do that, and that would be... I mean, even the sunken grave, is it going to work? It's sort of got a drop-off here, and then an entranceway and a thing. So you go up the cliff face, and then into the cavity, which is 3. Well, the entrance, cave, shrunken, sunken graveyard. Let's go bioluminescent. Something that's not so dangerous. Everything we've put in here has been like, bad things will happen to you. So let's go with less dangerous entrance. It might be a nice change. And then I've got to make sure I get rid of this one because that's wrong. Okay, bioluminescent cave. Bold underline. Cave is lined with glowing algae, casting a soft green light. So, emitting. A soft green light. Let's give it a sort of cliff face, sort of like a drop off into something else. A 150-foot underwater cliff face. So this would be sort of an entranceway that is closest to the deepest part of the ocean, whereas this reef and this mound of coral near obviously a reef of some kind is sort of between maybe a beach or a coastal line and the drop off to the ocean. So this is the drop off to the ocean. Okay, 150-foot underwater cliff, climbs up to a wide cavernous opening. Okay, the cave is lined there. That's good. So we've got that. Is there something they can find here? I don't know. Are there monsters here? I prefer not to put monsters here if I can help it. Is there something they could find? Sure. Okay, but that's 3. We needed to get rid of the boring stuff. I got rid of boring stuff. There's still a lot of sort of tweaking that needs to be done. But Area 7 and Area 4 are the only areas left to complete. Area 7 is really a dead end. There's not much going on there. And then Area 4 is a bigger location, of course. So let's go back to our chat and see if people have come up with some ideas, because I've plugged in some more stuff. Mermaid and Medusa, an 8 with petrified fish. We've got that. See if the head floats out. Oh, God. Yes. The problem is it would have rotted away by now. That's the which chest are we talking about? Which chest are we talking about? 4. Okay, all right. Well, I moved it to 4. I don't think it really matters too much. I'm happy for it to be 8 rather than 4. 4 was just a bigger cavity, I guess. I've never attacked a Medusa with an undead. Yeah, I don't think it would be a very smart idea. Maybe there's also a blind surgeon sorcerer. Let's try not to shove too many major players in here. We have a giant octopus, a huge crabzilla covered crab. We've got a storm giant to stick somewhere. I think maybe stuck down in this trench in 9. Maybe that's got stuck there and sent her little pet seahorse to get help. That would make a good addition to the NPC that I think is what Matthew was talking about. We could do that. The head is frozen. The chest with the head is a chest of cold colding. The head is frozen. Okay. So we just need to decide where that chest is. Just decide where that chest is. I'll have a look. Let me see. Let me just grab my my prompt again. I'll put the prompt in and we'll start filling in some more stuff. I think we've established where our NPC storm giant is, which helps force. We got to figure out how to get the players to here so they want to go through, right? And a call for help might do it. They're not getting paid, so hopefully they're not murder hobos who just do everything for money. But you never know. Oh dear. So let's work on the next thing, which is this one here. Take this over. We take our storm giant. I don't know if it needs to be a princess, but just a storm giant would be fine. Bums. Let's try that again. So we need a name for our storm giant if we're going to include a storm giant in here that has been trapped. Cut. And I believe 9 is the trench NPC. Which is right up our NPC. Paste. A storm giant. A storm giant called something has been injured and trapped in the trench and needs help escaping. Full stop. Okay, so there is our lead in for that, which kind of goes back to, you were saying there was strange eerie sounds, so we could probably include a bit of, okay, strange lights flash occasionally from the depths, and a eerie, oh god, eerie and eerie sound. Something. Come back to that. Injured and trapped in the trench. Let's go with whatever her name is. Has sent her pet seahorse called, I don't know, to find help. Bingo. There we go. I think we have just included our storm giant. We had a mermaid, friendly mermaid, herding octopi, magical Medusa, mermaid statue with some power that is of aid. We could put that in area 3. So if you're worried about them being able to, yeah, let's do that. Let's put in 3. So let's go. It's treasure, as far as I'm concerned. Let's go cut. We'll get rid of the lightning resistance thing, and then we'll go back up. I need to do 7 and 4 too, don't I? So now think about this. Area 3, bioluminescent cave. Paste. Okay, 100-foot underwater cliff climbs up to a wide cavernous opening. The cave is lined with glowing algae emitting a soft green light, and has a marble statue of a mermaid next to the cliff edge. Okay, cool. So the magical mermaid statue, statuette is magical and grants water breathing for the So 24 hours if touched. Well, no, let's do that a lot less than that. Let's 1 hour. So they have to keep going back. Does it have to run out? Probably not. So we got an easy way. So if you didn't want to have to worry about, I need to give them a potion to deal with being underwater, maybe that's not a big issue. Maybe they'll be able to swim down and this is a way of getting them through that. So we'll put that in there. That's fine. I have no problems. Let's include a new area. So we have to deal with some of these other areas. We've got a dead end. We've got a big 8. Number 4 is a big cavernous area. So number 4 and number 7. So what else could we include in here? Sunken graveyard? No, I don't really like the idea of doing this. I'm fine with the. I guess I'm fine with the concept, but it's not. It's not a sunken graveyard. It's just an underwater. It's a reef graveyard, really. That would be all right, I guess. Whirlpool, temple, jellyfish. I feel like we could stick jellyfish into anything. Sea serpents. I really think we don't want anything too nutsy. I don't really. Let's get rid of these shrines and these library nonsense that can go. We don't need them. Sea serpents, blah blah blah. We've kind of got serpents already. So my preference here is I think we go here with a reef graveyard. And let's make that 4. It's a big area. Let's go cut. Paste. And bold and underline. Okay. And then I don't really want to put anything too nuts and crazy here, but some sort of thing that they can pick up. When I say treasure, it doesn't mean magic items or gold or gems. It could be any. It could be just. It could be a spade. They could find a spade here. Anyway, scattered across the floor of this. It's a very large cavern. This cavern are ancient barnacle covered skeletal remains of humanoids and creatures. Rusted weapons and chests are half buried in the sand. Okay, this is where somebody had said we need to have a treasure chest. This may be the place to stick it. And have a head float out. I don't want to stick it there, so pardon me. You know, I think if anything, the area, the shipwreck pit is going to have some treasure chests. I think that's where we would stick a. There are many chests of treasure scattered throughout the pit, and one includes a frozen what was the word? Frozen something head. Frozen something head. Frozen something head. Yeah. Back to here. A frozen something head. A frozen severed head. A frozen severed head that floats out if opened. Okay, all right. I've put that into there. So we've got something going on. We just need to do 7, which is just a very small dead end. And yeah, then we're ready to sort of deal with some of the other things. Whew, an eerie moaning. Okay, pardon me. Yes, eerie moaning, that makes sense. Did we have a name for our Medusa mermaid sorcerer? And do we have a name for our seahorse? And do we have a name for our injured and trapped storm giantess? Seven is a trap. Okay, what sort of trap? I'm fine. We haven't had any traps in here. We can put a trap here. We can put a natural hazard here. Just tell me what it is. That's all I need. That's all I need. Make it easy for me. Anyway, okay, so yeah, we haven't got any names for those characters yet, which is fine. We haven't really established a what 7 is, which is, I guess, going to happen. Back to here. All right, so, oh, there's a temple thing. Let's get rid of the temple. I don't want to ruin temples. There's always ruined temples, isn't there? There's always more ruined temples. Guys, none of these are really going to get any time because we're running out of space in this location, which is fine. We've had this crystal cave nonsense for so long. I think the crystal cave idea should go as well. The octopus eye dome, circle form. No. Okay. We are really trimming things down nicely now. This is what I want to see. To the point where we have just the bare essentials. Okay, let's see. I think 7, if it's going to be anything, maybe it could be a whirlwind. No, it's not. It's a whirlpool. It's not really a whirlpool. It's not big enough for that. It could be a dead end full of jellyfish. That would be a pain in the ass. Let's do that. Jellyfish. I don't know. I mean, that's what I would do, is I'd just stick jellyfish in there. Unless somebody has... Fred, if you've got an idea, sweet, let me know. We'll do it. Otherwise, I think we need to move on to adventure hooks and then filling out other stuff that's going on here. We have a lot going on. Like, there's a heap of stuff going on. But is that what we want? I'm fine with, let's just stick jellyfish in here. I feel like jellyfish are a trap anyway, even though it's a creature. Eerie moaning. I didn't write down eerie moaning, didn't I? So where's the abyssal trench? Blah 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 blah. Escaping. Has seen a pet. Okay, so and an eerie moaning sound. Strange lights flash occasionally from the depths, probably because she's trying to do something with magic and get people's attention. And she's da 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 la 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 la. Okay. 3. The chest contains the head remains. The head contains the statue. 3. The chest containing the head contains the statue. I see what you're going with this. Trap the wall to look like secret doors will collapse the area. As you want a collapsing area. Well, that fits with a dead end, right? A collapsing area. We could do that. That's fine. I don't think we need that many more monsters. Like that, if you think about how many monsters we've created in this location, right? Just to give you an idea of how many monsters. We have 10 locations. Area 1, the coral entrance, has a monster, Barracuda. Okay? Area 2, which is also an entrance, has electric eels. Then we don't have any monsters in 3. Then we go to 4, no monsters. Then we go to area 5, which has a giant octopus in 5. So that's 3 monsters. Then we get to the 6, which is the shipwreck pit. And the shipwreck pit has got a crabzilla, a giant crab covered in coral. So that's another monster. Then we get to the area 8, which is a coral, a fossil chamber. And that has the Medusa mermaid sorcerer. That's another monster. That's 5. Then we get to 9. There's an NPC here. Okay, great. And then 10 has another monster. Okay, undead humanoid pirates. That's 6 monsters and 10 locations. We do not need any more monsters. I really don't think we need to fill it up with anything else. But dead end. Mark and dead end. The coral passage comes to a dead end. Trap. It's not really a trap, it's a hazard, isn't it? Hazard. And so, if am I getting this right? I'm trying to make sure I get this the way you wanted it to be. Bold, underline, hazard. Okay. So we need something that would allow us to have them cause a problem. So we need like bait. For the hazard to be a thing, we need bait for them to trigger it. We could stick a sword into coral, and pulling up the sword would trigger the collapsing ceiling. But here's the problem. It's so obvious. It is so obvious. I'm really not too sure about that. The coral passage comes to a dead end with a sword. A gleaming sword. Trapped in the rock, in the colourful coral. Gleaming, yeah, okay, so there we go. Now, pulling the sword out of the coral causes the passage to collapse. Collapse. Full stop. Do we need to include damage? I don't know. Treasure. We know what the treasure is. I guess it's going to have to be a magical sword. I don't know. What is it? A magical sword. Okay, something like that, I guess. All right, so bold. Okay. Dun dun dun. How much time? We've got about just over half an hour, and we really need to contend with naming some things, but also we need to have some hooks. How do we convince our players to go here in the first place? I can go over the different locations, that's fine, but how do we convince them to go there? That is our next issue. So let's have a look at this. I think we definitely need to do adventure hooks. I can do one adventure hook, and I'm hoping the rest of you will come up with something. So let me go over the location information so far as we have it, so you're aware of what we're dealing with. So area 1 is the coral entrance, framed by coral, and basically we've got our giant barracuda swimming here that will attack. We have hazards, which is a strong current, and of course the coral, could cause slashing damage. We haven't decided what they might find here. That's not really that important, so let's move on. The area 2 is the Eels Nest, which basically is a coral-filled passageway full of sharp rocks and holes and bones. And there's, electric eels in here as our monster. So cool. Area 3, another entranceway, is a bioluminescent cave. It's right next to a 150 foot underwater cliff. And it opens up into this cave, which is full of algae emitting a soft green light. And it has a marble statue of a mermaid next to the cliff edge. And that mermaid statue will grant, water breathing if you touch it. Great, awesome, for an hour. The reef graveyard, which is area 4, scattered around this cavern is ancient barnacle-covered skeletal remains, rusted weapons and chests, and probably armor. We probably should include armor as well. Armor and chests half filled in sand. Okay, so anyway, keep going. 5, Kelp Forest. So we've got dense, towering strands of kelp filling the huge cavern, making navigation difficult. It's dark, it's cold. There are no fish swimming here, primarily because that giant octopus that we've stuck there is probably eating all of them. There's probably not a lot of fish living here anymore because it's been food. 6 is a shipwreck pit. It's a massive dark cavern filled with remains of sailing ships in a deep pit. And we have a monster, the Crabzilla. It's covered in coral, and it's been dragging parts of shipwrecks into there and then feeding on the corpses of the sailors, which is what crabs tend to do. So there is plenty of chests in here that you could open up, so plenty of treasure. Next, the Dead End. It was basically a coral passageway. We've stuck a gleaming sword trapped in the coral here, and you pull it out and the coral collapses on the passageway. We haven't determined what that sword is. It's a little bit of I don't know that it's the best way to include a way of enticing somebody into pulling on the coral, but anyway. 8 is the fossil chamber. This coral walls covered in the remains of prehistoric sea creatures. Petrified fish litter the ground, and we have a Medusa mermaid sorcerer. We have not named them yet. That is here, living. I'm assuming doesn't affect the undead pirates that we have, and probably doesn't interact with the giant crab or the giant octopus, generally. Anyway, keeping going. 9 is the Abyssal Trench, a deep, dark trench that descends into darkness. Strange lights flash occasionally from the depths, and there's an eerie moaning sound. And we have a storm giantess, called whatever, has been injured and trapped in the trench and needs help escaping. She has sent her pet seahorse to call for help. Okay, so one way we can get them in here. And then 10 is the Pocket Grotto, a medium-sized cavern with a 50-foot pit with air pocket at the top, and there's a white sandy ledge covered in seashells to the east. We've got undead humanoid pirates that guard what's left of an old chest. We have included some treasure in our chest, and the pirates were alive before, but now they're trapped, and so now they're stuck here. And it's got an anti-transmutation aura coming off it, so that those people with spells that breathe underwater or allow you to breathe underwater are gonna probably get turned off. So we've got a lot of stuff going on here. Now we just need to figure out how to convince them to get here. Is it because of the crab? Is it because of the octopus? Is it because of the Medusa mermaid sorcerer? Is it because of the trapped giantess? Like, there's a bunch of different things we could do. Whoa, there's a lot. Anyway, let's go back here. Let's ask that question and then start filling in some of this. The Dungeon Minister. Hello, Aaron. How are you doing? Wowzers. Well, not my idea. Somebody else's idea. But yeah. Hashtag. Let's come up with some adventure hooks. Okay. Okay, so, well, do we even need to know the answer to that? Who stuck the head in the chest of cold and why? It really doesn't even matter. Will you ever be able to answer that question? Just don't write stuff down that you'll never need to use. Through the chest contained, the head contains the statue. No, I'm not going to do that. Okay, it's trap, 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 trap. We've got that. Fishing. Get buried. Seven could have venomous sea slug, really deadly creature. Well, if we're going to have a trap, why would we have a creature as well? We're getting a little bit carried away, I think. Also called blue dragon. Where are we getting it? We don't need a dragon. We need a name. We need to name the Medusa, the storm giantess, and the seahorse, don't we? Is there anything else that needs to be named? Look up this little creature. They are beautiful and deadly. I bet they are. King of crabs, exactly. Or they will have crabs. Sword popped against the rock. Move the sword and the cave collapses. Okay, so sword of glowing. So a glowing sword. Okay, so we're happy to stick a sword into the coral, clearly. Seven will have a glowing sword. Back to the other stuff. Well, gleaming and glowing. Is that really any difference? Is it going to matter? I don't know that it does. Okay, all right, keep going. Okay, I used giant clams as treasure chests once. They were alive and dangerous. The third empty. That's actually quite a clever idea. So anywhere we have a treasure chest, we may be able to just include, instead of a treasure chest, but a clam, a giant clam. I like that idea. That's Dungeon Minister. Nice job. I like that idea. Let's see if we can do something like that in some suitable locations. Well, I don't want to do it in the entrance. I just wanted to find something. The Eels chest. The Eels Nest. No. Volume is no. Fine with that. The reef graveyard. I think we can have treasure chests there. That's fine. The Kelp Forest. Well, I don't think... No, I think a giant octopus would probably try to eat a clam. Let's keep going. The shipwreck pit can have yes, that's fine. We could have the fossil cave could have clams, although they might wind up getting turned into petrified clams, so maybe not. Air grotto. We could do one in the abyssal trench. Could have giant clams. Where would be a nice and interesting way to put a clam? Giant clam. Which means a giant pearl, I guess. The Eels Nest. I don't want to do it anywhere near the entranceways if I can help it. Let's keep it away. We don't have a huge number of locations. The reef graveyard. The kelp forest. The pit. The dead end. The fossil chamber. The abyssal trench. Yeah, Pocket Grotto is covered. Let's put it here. A few giant clams contain large pearls. Contain large pearls worth, I don't know, let's be generous, 200 gold pieces. something like that. And then what else we got here? We're still waiting on adventure hooks, so hard to search for missing storm giant. Yes, I suppose it can always be the higher to search for a missing storm giant. I think we can probably avoid just let's hire the players. We can probably do a bit better than that. The characters are hired to search for the missing storm giantess. That's one. Storm giantess. Let's do that. What about a small seahorse? Small seahorse. Seahorse. Let's make it easy. A small talking seahorse asks the characters to help rescue their storm giant master. So we could do it that way. We could, well, let's keep going. I gave tips, people. I dropped a whole lot of clues as to how we could go about doing this, by the way. Remember, octopus, giant crab, Medusa, mermaid, sorcerer. We've got the storm giant pretty much nailed down. So there's a couple of ways we could do this. They need the legendary item that blocks transmutation for some other quest. Okay. That is fine. We could do that. Let's drop that in. The characters need the legendary ring that blocks transmutation for some other quest. Sure, we could do that. And then what else you've got here? Chain the crab, clams shut, take ashore and cook. Clam chowder and treasure. It's because of the input. Yes. Keep going. Someone wants giant crab legs for a bouquet. Start melting butter. Well, maybe. I use Google Translate for names. Pick your language and culture. Yeah, well, I can name them myself, Dungeon Minister. I'm just seeing if people want to share their suggestions. I will take their suggestions. It's an easy way to be part of the process. Gleam is reflective. Okay, so glowing. All right, there we go. We want to make it glow. Is it a blue glow? Is it a yellow glow? Is it a pink glow with a... Let's go red. A red glowing sword. Glowing sword trapped in the colourful coral. There we go. I have changed it. You've insisted on glow. We've done it. Thank you, Derry. I believe Fred Huber was trying to lead me that way anyway. Let's go on back. In the Kelp Forest. Do octopus eat clams? You need to read a bedtime story? Good. Cool. Awesome. Hey, all the best with that. And yeah, hope that your kids do well with their storytelling. Hopefully they enjoy it. Medusa's name. So we've got a couple of different names here. So I will just take that idea. Silvery glow. You want a silvery glow. You don't want a red glow. Silvery glow. Okay, silvery glow. With a... All right. Man, we've got to be specific here, don't we? And then we deal with the... I'm sure they do, which is why I didn't want to put the clams in the octopus infested location, because I'm sure what they do is they will just find a way to get the clam open and then just eat the little suckers, which is why I put them somewhere else. But what's another way of dealing with this? I guess I'm going to be doing some of these adventure hooks. I guess I'll be doing most of them, because I normally try to include 5 or 6, not because all adventures should have 5 or 6, but because I know this is going to be, if anybody's going to use it, they're going to need to be able to fit it into their campaign, right? And so we've come up with a couple of different ways why they might be coming here that can kind of help move things along. Otherwise, you're kind of stuck. So Medusa is... We've got a lot of stuff in a very short, small, packed location, don't we? Here we go. So this is... It's called... something. What a name. Okay, I've got that down. So let's go back to our premise and see if we can't lock down some of the ideas we need for our adventure, and get some hooks in there. Okay. So we're going to use a couple of different, potentially slightly different ways of getting them to this location. I'm doing this because you might want to have a different focus. Just because there are multiple things living here does not mean that they need to be the focus of the adventure, right? So let's start off with the crab. The characters have discovered that a giant crab has been sinking ships. So, sinking ships along the coastline and decide now we could sink their ship. That would be more useful. The characters see a giant crab sink sink their ship. This is assuming that they are landlubbers and will need, breathe water. The characters see a giant crab sinking their ship along the coastline. Sink their ship, their sailing ship along the coastline, and decide to track it down to its lair and kill it. It's usually not very hard to convince players to do something like that. So there we go. So there's one way of getting them there. Is it the best way? Well, if you mess with their stuff, player characters will go after things. So yeah, okay. Next, octopus and fish. The supply of fish in the the supply of fish near a reef has recently disappeared. and the characters decide or are hired to find out why. Now, what would wipe out the fish supply? Giant octopus and a giant crab. Absolutely, that would mess with it. So, the supply of fish near a reef has recently disappeared, and the characters decide or did I put or are hired to find out why. The giant octopus and Crabzilla have been have moved in to the reef, and they are the culprits. So find out why. Now, how I didn't put why. Okay. Next, we haven't done the Medusa. The Medusa, mermaid, sorcerer. So, a number of aquatic humanoids and creatures have been found petrified around a reef, and the characters are trying to are investigating who is responsible. Okay, so we've got a bunch of adventure hooks. Wandering monsters work best if you pick things that would live in that region. I don't really want to go into too much detail about wandering monsters. Our main features, I think the best thing we can do here is say the inside the coral caves, it is pitch black without a light source generally. Okay, we didn't need to say too much about our main features. That's fine. We've got some adventure hooks. We probably need to deal with some of the treasure. We need to sort of determine the giant octopus and then what it's going to be up to. So the giant octopus attacks and eats anything that comes into the kelp grove. Alright, so we've figured that one out. We haven't determined what the magical sword is. We still need to have a name for the giantess and the seahorse, which we can do later on. Friendly mermaid guarded by a herd of octopi probably won't come into be. We did not include Chull, but we did have a giant octopus and a giant coral crab. Zombie sharks, I don't know. Giant sharks seem sensible. I don't know why we need to have zombie sharks, because I don't feel like we have necessarily a necromancer here. Unless that Medusa is... Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, we've got the basic bits and pieces we need. We've done that in about just under 2 hours. I think there's enough there that you could run the adventure and get your players invested in doing something, because there's lots of different ways to pull them in, why they might go there. Try a different one with every single player if they have a different bent. And yeah, every time you can make it affect the character's life or their world or their situation, then they're more likely to go after the hook. That's really the gist of this, right? So there we go. Now, what do we got here? Silvery glow. Eel hilarity, the mermaid Medusa. What? Eel hilarious, the mermaid Medusa. Oh, that's a heck of a name. Squiggly scrap. Squiggly scalp. Squiggly scalp. Pearl deliverers have gone missing. Oh, right. Pearl deliverers have gone missing. Interesting. Might grab that. Squiggly scalp. I feel like squiggly scalp is a little bit on the nose, but squiggly, I like the name squiggly for the seahorse. Let's put that in the seahorse's name. Squiggly sounds like the name we should use for sure. I like squiggly. Paste. Squiggly. And her pet seahorse called Squiggly to find help. What else do we have here? Pearl deliverers have been going missing. And watched it get sunk by... Yes, yeah. Yep. That's a good idea too. Like you can watch somebody else go down. It doesn't need to be a pirate ship. It could be any kind of ship, right? Let's just take this idea that you had, truck that over there for potentially later on. Paste. And what else do we have here? Yes. Petrified fish that float. I don't know about wiggly head. Dear. Sure. Let's go up to here and into our... So we're going to have quite a few different things going on here. If we don't want to affect somebody else's ship, we can go this way. So the characters. We're chasing a pirate ship and watched it get sunk by a giant crab. There we go. That pretty much locks that all down. Squid scalp. All right, so okay, I'll deal with the names. It's cool. So we've got the basics there. I think that's really probably enough to deal with right now, and it's nice and simple. I would imagine, depending on the system that you're running, I think you could probably run that in one session. I don't know. I know if you're using 2024 D&D, you might struggle. But if you're using 5e, it really depends on how you operate and how your players operate. Anyway, have you created an underwater cave adventure before? So, people who said yes, 43%. No, 25%. Hopefully you are inspired to have it a go. Give it a go. See what it's like. Just watching, 25%, and incomplete, 6%. So hopefully you're able to complete your adventure that was supposed to be an underwater cave, and this has given you a bunch of different ideas. Maybe that'll work for you, maybe they won't, maybe it'll inspire something else. Iliadusa. Are we trying to include Medusa in there? Iliadusa. Yeah, even calling her Dusa would start. We could call her Mel. Anyway, don't worry about it. It's all good. Anyway, let's get out of here and sign you out and get you moving so you can go on with your day, and I can get on with my day since I've got stuff to do. I will be back tomorrow. I believe tomorrow is magic items. So Game Master preparation, we're dealing with magic items. For those of you who were hoping we would finally be doing a lot more magic item creation, absolutely, because the tools that I think we needed to build have been built. We put them up. I put them up onto Patreon. How's it going, Calrel? You're welcome. So we're going to build magic items. Now, I am all right with making super powerful, crazy, strong things because I put literally the Infinity Gauntlet as the thumbnail up. Okay? But I will also say I am very keen to make lots of little, simple, common magic items, things that you don't need to worry too much about including into your game. So magic item creation, that's what we will be doing. We will use some of the tools that are available. I'll make them. I'll bring them up and make sure they're part of the live stream so you can see them. And yeah, and maybe you'll just come up with your own ideas, and we'll just make a nice huge list. I don't want to make them 5e specific. I want them to be system agnostic. In other words, I want them to be able to be ported into anything. Yeah, magic items need to be interesting and useful, and that's what we're going to do tomorrow. Okay. In any case, we're done. We're done. So that you can get out of here, I want to say a huge thank you to everybody who's been watching and listening. Thank you so much to everybody who took part in the poll. A huge thank you to my patrons. Without my patrons, this is not possible. It is very hard to keep running YouTube channels nowadays, and I'm finding it more difficult than ever. And without them, it really does not exist anymore. Okay, it's very much a fact. The reality is too, I really need to thank those people who have been watching the live streams, taking part in them. Calrel, thank you for being here. Fred Huber specifically, look, you've really been great with your feedback. I really do appreciate it. The Dungeon Minister, great guy. I had a good time with him on Friday, New Zealand time, playing Dungeons and Dragons, Beck Me D&D, basic D&D. It was good. I hope to do it again, and I'm sure we will. Derry, thank you for being here and providing your feedback. And I believe Wizards and Warp Drives was also here for a little while, providing some ideas and some suggestions, which is great. He's also a patron, just like Fred Huber. And I also want to thank Matthew and Hypnotic. I believe Hypnotic is also is Hypnotic a patron? I think he is. Thank you, Matthew, for jumping in and providing some mural suggestions as well. We did really well. And Agile Monk, who's a patron and moderator, really is great to have you giving your ideas, sharing with the community. Best thing ever. Best thing ever. So wherever you are in the world, whether it be the morning, the afternoon, or the night, please look after yourself, your family, and your friends. Be nice to your neighbours. And we will be back next week to make another adventure. That's right, we will make another adventure, probably a village adventure or a town adventure. That's what I would expect. In any case, wherever you are in the world, look after yourself. And till next time, keep rolling those 20s.